Hello and welcome back to Smash Hit Sports. We got college football week 2 in the books, and Texas is back. Texas A&M stinks. They should fire Jimbo Fisher. Alabama's dead. Notre Dame is going to win the national championship. Is there anything I missed? Oh, Colorado's the best team in the country.
Right, yeah, Texas as well.
Yeah, this is a
The
big time
Pac-12
over.
is the best conference we've ever seen.
It is. I mean,
Yeah, much to talk about, but it was a great week too. I had a fantastic time watching from noon to midnight. I was just glued in. I went to a sports bar for dinner,
excellent.
and I was honestly got to the point where I was overwhelmed by how much joy I was feeling, because like Texas, Ewers had a 50-yard bomb to go up, and then I looked to the right and like Oregon just retook the lead against Texas Tech, and I looked to my right and Wisconsin's coming back. Maryland's struggling with Charlotte. I'm just like, holy shit, what's going on? It was just beautiful. Boise State lost on a game-winning field goal at the same time. It was crazy, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous, start to finish. Let's start with, I guess it's news from Saturday because it broke Saturday. However, what the fuck with Mel Tucker? So it dropped. I think it dropped Sunday morning or like real late Saturday night. That he is. So I think it's officially suspended without pay. I don't think he has officially been fired until the investigation is concluded. However, he's currently suspended without pay due to sexual harassment allegations with somebody who like came to talk, who like talks to people about sexual harassment.
No way.
Yes. Like legitimately, if you look, I forget the woman's name, but if you look her up, her thing is like she comes and talks to teams about like the dangers and issues with sexual assault and sexual harassment because she has been sexually assaulted. And it's just an all-time, if there is truth to this, Mel Tucker, what the fuck, dude? And he's released a statement saying that like it was a consensual relationship and like they were both consenting adults. And first off, buddy, let's why? You're Mel Tucker, dude. You just signed a $90 million contract. Why the fuck are you trying to hook up with the sexual assault speaker?
You gotta know what you're getting into,
fucking moron. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Even if he was coming on to me aggressively, I'd be like, you know what?
Not a chance.
This isn't my battle here. I'm not going for this.
No.
And I'm naturally like skeptical with shit like this because, you'll see the media reaction and it just goes blown out of proportion, right? Because this, again, like the Northwestern hazing allegations we talked about earlier.
Yep.
This feels that I didn't know that, but that feels too absurd to be real. There's no way that he is dumb enough as a person to sexually assault the anti-sexual assault advocate.
Yeah.
Who was at Michigan State for the weekend. It's like if the haze, like you were in a fraternity. Were you in a fraternity or no?
Yeah.
Right, I thought so. But like we had to go to the hazing seminar where, the people would talk about hazing and whatnot. And, like imagine if you and your boys just like went and grabbed that person and hazed the hell out of them. Like that'd be the dumbest thing you could ever do. So,
and if it's true, Mel Tucker, see ya, buddy. You are fucking gone, and you just lost a shit ton of money. I don't know what that buyout is, but it ain't gonna be cheap. And Michigan State, yikes! I mean, especially you just got we just possibly maybe put the Larry Nassar bullshit in the rear view, and that was a horrific situation, and now. It's like, come on, man. Just dude's got to stop being horny. That's the thing. I think guys are just too horny.
He's 51. I wonder how old this woman was.
Yeah, that's Mel. What are we doing, dude?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be pretty hard for me to find out. So we'll just move on. But that's insane.
Yep. So let's start game of the weekend. Obviously. Texas, Alabama, it was start to finish, a great game. Every time that Alabama punched back, like which you expected they would, like Texas responded. And whether it was Quinn Ewers or Xavier Worthy, the offensive line looked great for Texas. Like they dominated, and they didn't dominate, but they won the battle up front against Alabama.
They definitely won the battle. Their defensive line was better than I thought they would be.
It was a really great performance. I think Texas is like very real. I was a hater. 100%. I was a doubter. I think I'm wrong.
I wasn't necessarily a doubter, but I wasn't like, oh, they're CFP, they're back level. But I wasn't with Alabama either. So I was excited to watch this game just because I was like, we'll see which one of these teams looks better because then they might be real. But what I was surprised with, like off the jump, I was kind of like, Texas looks like the better team.
Yep.
And then I was surprised, like Alabama, like the resilience, the energy, the big plays that they had to come back when like they could have been down and out. Yes, they lost by 10, but that like if they played again, the spread would be like even. I think
Yeah, I think it would be close.
Yeah, so I was really impressed with Alabama. I know they were playing at home, so that probably helps you a lot. But Texas, I mean, basically from the jump, I was like, this team looks real. Ewers is a beast. They have everything they need. They look like they're coached well. It's, like they're legit. I'm with you.
Yeah, they have some dudes. And the thing, too, is I saw some Bama fans be tweeting, like, we got to make a quarterback change at halftime. Like, what do we do? Jalen Milroe didn't lose you that game. Like, he had some bad throws, but, like, they weren't – the thing is Alabama has always had they had the unbelievable weapons in 2020. They had a phenomenal offensive line in the early, like 2010, 2012, and incredible running backs. Or they had the phenomenal quarterback in Tua or Jalen Hurts or whoever, right? They've had one of those. The problem is their quarterback is really good, but not great. And their wide receivers are good, but not great. And their running back and their offensive line is good, but not great. And that's for 90% of the teams in this country. That's really damn good, and you're going to have a phenomenal season. But for Alabama, that's not the expectation. And
right, yeah, especially for the fans. The fans were spoiled, so they're saying, like, my thing is, there's no way that like Saban takes like months and months to figure out who he's starting week one, and then it's just like, you know what, we'll just start Milroe. Like Milroe earned that starting job.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's done enough to lose it, per se.
No.
Like, Texas is a really good team. But like you're saying, we're used to seeing Alabama with, like, who was on that running back roster? It was Josh Jacobs, like, Derrick Henry, TJ Yeldon, Kenyon Drake, and, like, Damian Harris. We're all on the same
like team. Alvin Kamara, before he transferred, was there, too. It was insane.
Something insane where, like, Alabama fans and any fan of college football is looking at it like, oh, like, this team has, like, their fifth string is an NFL running back. Whereas now we're not really seeing that as much, and that's okay. That's just NIL and transfer portal, right? You're gonna have to get used to that. But yeah, I think Alabama shouldn't be like upset about losing that. I did see a lot of people on Twitter saying like it's over, like the season's like the dynasty's over. It's like, well, I hope so, but why are you going that far?
I will say this loss Texas losing this game, I don't think would have hurt them as much as Alabama losing this game hurts Alabama. Because Alabama now has to play LSU and Tennessee and Ole Miss. And then they also have to play, if they win the SEC West, Georgia in the SEC Championship. Their path to a potential college football playoff berth is very, very difficult. Whereas I think if Texas had one loss, I think their ability to win out would have been
maybe
a little higher.
I do think that, like, before the season when we were talking about going through the schedules, I looked at Alabama's and I was like, okay, I see them losing to Tennessee and Texas A&M.
Yep.
And then Tennessee really struggled with Austin Peay on Saturday.
Crazy.
And Texas A&M looked not great. They looked really good for like the first 18 minutes of that game.
Yep.
And then everything went to shit. And so now I'm thinking, like, and we know that LSU was already semi-fraudulent.
Yes.
So like Ole Miss, maybe they looked good against Tulane without Tulane starting quarterback.
But even then,
Like,
it took him till the fourth quarter to put him away.
I know. So, like, for me, Alabama's schedule prospectively actually got easier than I thought it would be at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And so losing this, I actually think that they impressed me enough where I think they have a good chance at winning out. And if they do, you never know. Obviously, until the SEC championship game.
Yep, we will see. But let's talk about the best conference in college football. It's the Pac-12 has been unbelievable. And you wrote in the notes here, they have 3 losses so far. Those 3 losses was one, USC and Stanford played each other. One of the Pac-12 teams were going to lose, like duh.
Yeah.
And then you have Arizona, who lost to Mississippi State in overtime. Was that game at Mississippi State or was that game in Tucson?
Oh God, I don't know. I know Cal was at home. I feel like
Cal was at
home?
Cal.
No. Utah was at Baylor. Yeah.
I
don't know.
Utah was at Baylor. That was at Mississippi State. So they went into Starkville and played that Mississippi State team to overtime, and then Cal was within a touchdown of Auburn. And
Cal
was
should have
up.
won that game. I watched the Cal game.
They should have won that game.
Cal left so many points on the board. They were missing field goals. They had touchdowns called back by the refs. That was bullshit. Like, Cal outplayed Auburn, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was really upset because we jumped on the Cal wavelength. I also had Cal money line. But Arizona, before the season, I was like, this team fucking stinks.
Yep.
Like, yes, I kind of like their quarterback, but their defense is going to be awful, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And then they're playing at Mississippi State. And I'm like, they're going to get smoked. And I was wrong. And Washington State, of course, goes in and dominates Wisconsin. It's kind of just like, what happened to the other conferences that made the Pac-12 look this incredible?
Dude, I don't know. It's crazy. It's almost as if all of these schools are really good at football and they should like form a conference in which they play each other and then like
stay there.
Dude, that would be so sick.
That would be sick, dude.
Can you imagine
all those Big Ten teams,
all the West Coast teams playing each other for big important games late at night? Damn.
In reality, it is really sad that like the most deep conference is just not going to exist anymore next year.
Because it has been awesome, and like Washington State, their head coach talking that like nobody wants us, like what, like we are just as much of a Power 5 team as anybody else. They showed it
as an ACC member. Not like Washington State and Oregon State look way better than Stanford, and Cal looks good, but like I don't understand why we were like, no Washington State, no Oregon State, like especially Oregon State. I mean, I guess ACC kind of focuses on basketball kind of heavily too, but Cal is like the worst basketball program in the country right now. So it's all hoopla. I hate it, honestly. I hate it.
But yeah, that was a great game. I think, don't get me wrong. Obviously, you had Wisconsin in the college football playoff. There was a bold take at the time.
It was.
I still believe in Wisconsin long term.
That was my whole reasoning.
But at the same time, like this is still like Wisconsin could end up being 9-3 and still having a very good year under Luke Fickell in their first season.
And I bet they do. The weird thing when I was watching that game is Braylon Allen had like 2 carries or like 1 touch in the first half. Like I was just like, what are we doing? Their backup, I'm blanking on his name. He's really good. So I kind of get it, but I was kind of confused at some decisions. And then again, Wisconsin was fighting back. They were down 2 in like the 4th and just couldn't get things to go their way. But there was a second there where I was like, they're going to pull this out and I'm alive. But no, I was wrong, and that's okay to be wrong. I took a chance.
Yeah. Let's talk about Coach Prime in Colorado. Hindsight's 2020. Why the fuck did I even think that Jeff Sims belonged on the same field as Shadur Sanders? Why did I think this was going to be a close game? Because if you just objectively be like, Jeff Sims is Nebraska's quarterback, are you sure that this is going to be a close game? What the fuck was I thinking?
You were saying, Cody, in the last episode, it was like this spread screams trap, right? It's like, well, I get it. It's a rivalry game. I get it. But then we both were like, it's at Colorado, and Colorado is so much more talented.
Yes.
And we just saw what they can do.
Yep.
So, like, I think they win by 20, but I can't bet on it because I'm scared. And then, of course, they win by 20, but, like, I didn't, like, I put it in a parlay. I didn't, like, solo it or anything, which is upsetting.
Yep. Scared money don't make money, but, I mean, Shedeur Sanders adds to his Heisman campaign. Travis Hunter didn't do a ton offensively, but, again, still...
He played 120 snaps, and, like,
that's just
that alone
ridiculous.
is impressive. And it was close defensively for, again, the first,
the first half for sure was tight.
First half. So like I wasn't, I was kind of like, okay, I was right to kind of fade this game, but that's what happens when you have a team that much more talented. And it's just so crazy to me how it was lazy journalism to just assume that Colorado wasn't going to be good when they get all of this talent. It's like talent wins games.
People are like, oh, he's just bringing a bunch of guys from Jackson State. It's like, yeah, those guys were also 4 and 5 stars. Like,
he's bringing
it's not your typical FCS talent that he's bringing with him. So
he's also like so aggressively picky with who he wants that, like, he's sniping people from other schools.
Did you hear he's like, I want my quarterbacks to have both their parents, but I want my defensive linemen to only have one of their parents. Yeah, I knew they grew up hungry. I was like, I love that
quote. What a ridiculous quote, but I get it psychologically. It does make sense. So,
they look good. They play Colorado State this week, which will be game day, which
is kind of weird. Did you see the Florida State Clemson got a noon game, and Texas Baylor's 0-2. They got like the primetime game this week.
That's stupid.
It's so sad.
Whatever.
Or not this week, sorry, but
in
2 weeks from now.
Yeah. Yep.
Like whenever they just released the schedule for it. And I was thinking about going to that Clemson Florida State game, but I don't think I'm interested enough in
paying that much money for a noon game
and tailgating at 9:30 a.m. for, we're not even going to be ranked. Like, I have to travel all the way down there, so
okay,
it's disappointing.
Let's talk about Clemson then. I was legitimately terrified for you in the first half.
Yeah, I know. We were texting. I was like,
we almost have full-blown nightmare scenario like that.
No, it would have been the worst loss in sports history. I remember just thinking, like,
50-point favorite.
Yeah, 50.5-point favorite. And Cade Klubnik, it was the same story as the Duke game where it's like, all right, we're driving, and then, like, oh, let's shovel the ball to the other team and let them go score. And Cade, like, throws the worst pass I've ever seen and is taken back for a touchdown. And we're, fumbling. And, oh, my God. I was just like, this is what the season's going to be. We're just going to be, like, terribly idiotic always. But then, Cody, we turned it around to the point where I actually was smiling. For the first time in a while, I was, like, full-blown
I was
gleaming.
happy.
I was happy. And the reason why, I don't know if you saw the TikTok I made, but Clemson outgained Charleston Southern by over 600 total yards. Have you ever seen something like that?
I mean, it's an ass kicking. They kicked ass in the second half. They did I don't know what Dabo said to him at halftime, but they needed that because it was ugly.
It was ugly, but then you look at it and it's like, okay, Charleston Southern had 70 yards total all game. They had 18 rushing yards. They didn't have a first down in like the entire first half, yet they had 17 points.
Yep.
So it's like if Clemson can just totally never make a mistake for the rest of the year, which obviously is not going to happen, but if in that scenario they just don't, Clemson's a fantastic team. Like I would go as far to say that I believe they can, they're good enough to accomplish anything.
Run the table. But.
Like 100%. So it's really it gave me a sense of positivity that I haven't really felt in a while. Because even last year with DJU, we're favored by like 45 points against Furman to open the season. Yep. And Furman outgains us in total yards, has more first downs. We win by 20, but that's because we're Clemson. And, that's just how it happens. But, like, you look at it and it's like, oh, that's a pretty even game. Yeah. And then we're favored by 45 plus, but we do what we used to do in, like, 2017. Yep. And so it was refreshing, that second half.
Yeah, you got a couple cupcakes on the schedule for Clemson and Florida State this week. So you play FAU, which, I mean, not a terrible cupcake. I mean, Tom Herman's a good coach. Florida State actually has more of a cupcake in Boston College, who almost lost to FCS Holy Cross. But
I know we'll get into that team, later. But yeah,
dog shit, dude. But yeah, let's talk other ACC action. Notre Dame,
yeah.
Notre Dame extended their win streak. I believe it's now 18 straight consecutive wins against ACC opponents in the regular season.
Wow.
Yeah, join a conference. I have no interest. We dominated. Anyway, it was a weird game in the first half. I say first half. It was a weird game until the end of the rain delay. So they played a little bit, had that rain delay, which it seems like every team on the East Coast had like Purdue, Virginia Tech,
Virginia Tech was a 4-hour rain delay.
Yeah, that was insane. Vanderbilt, Wake Forest was delayed. ODU, whoever they played, they got delayed. I think was JMU and Virginia delayed. I think they might have played.
I don't know. Honestly,
it wasn't very long. But they had all these teams got delayed, which was crazy. But NC State's brand new scoreboard got struck by lightning. They were bragging about their new $50 million scoreboard, and then it got struck by lightning and shorted out. Tough totally scenes. Insurance will cover it, but that sucks. But yeah, Notre Dame looked good. Notre Dame dominated a team. Audric Estime had 130-some rushing yards. He had that 80-yard touchdown. Sam Hartman, 3 touchdowns. I'm
on the Audric Estime Heisman campaign now. He looks real good.
Don't get me wrong, I love Audric Estime. However, he's in the perfect situation. In a team that wants to run the ball, likes to run it between the tackles. He is a great between the tackles runner behind a top 5 offensive line in the country. And
their O-line helps. I mean, statistically speaking, I'm not saying necessarily he should be a first-round NFL draft pick, but as far as what I expect his stats to look like at the end of the year, I think he could be in New York.
Yeah,
in January. So
he's great dog. I might actually be going to the Central Michigan Notre Dame game, which would be cool. I think Notre Dame is like a 30-point favorite. But I'm excited for that. I bought my tickets using SeatGeek, but I could not use my promo code because it's only for first-time users. However, you guys could use the promo code if you want to go to a game this weekend. Promo code SMASHHITSPORTS gets you $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. Do you have a game on the schedule that you're going to yet, or no?
Well, I'll be in Charlotte on Thursday. So
okay,
I think and obviously Clemson people moved to Charlotte, so I know tons of people in Charlotte. I lived there when we first started talking.
Yep.
And a lot of them are thinking about going down for the FAU game. It's a night game, which would be cool.
Yep.
So it's very possible I go to that. It just depends on. It's going to be spontaneous, but if not that, maybe Wake Forest. We'll see.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
I gotta save some money. I'm not going to be able to go to like Notre Dame or
I feel you.
And Florida State's at noon, so it's dumb.
Yep. Let's talk about another ACC squad. ACC really showed out this weekend. I mean, outside of the fact that
good, man. They're good this year.
NC State got kicked ass, but Miami over Texas A&M. I will say this. I want to preface this very clearly. I have shit on Jimbo Fisher in the past. I'm not doing it today. Texas A&M played well. Miami just played better. This was a game where last year both of these teams kind of played like shit, and then Texas A&M won. Whereas this game, both teams played well. Miami won. Tyler Van Dyke had 5 touchdowns. The dude, he played like the Tyler Van Dyke that everybody thought he was going to be.
Yeah, 5-star Tyler Van Dyke, NFL first-rounder Tyler Van Dyke.
Yeah, he balled the fuck out. Wegman looked good, too, for Texas A&M.
Yeah, Wegman looked good. I didn't know how big he was. I was surprised to see how massive Wegman looks out there.
He looks like a corn-fed son of a bitch. You know what I mean? He's a Southern kid.
Oh, my God, this is a giant. But, yeah, I mean, watching that game, it felt like Texas A&M had control of it until right before half they drove down the field kind of got unlucky and then missed the field goal. And then Miami goes down and scores right before half. And I think Miami gets the ball to start the half. And that like totally changed everything about that game. So again, I mean, that's football. That happens. But I don't like, again, it's a situation where if they played again, I'm not like saying, oh, I'm taking Miami because like they're the better team. I think it was a really close, good game. Just Miami overpowered them in that second half.
Yep. Yeah, but overall, like I feel pretty good about these teams coming away. I don't feel
I think they could both easily finish ranked. I think in my latest prediction, I have them both just outside. But again, a lot of teams have impressed me so far this season.
I have Miami in my top 25 this week. I don't have Texas A&M, but it's hard to justify putting them
I have
this
Miami
week.
in my current top 25. Yes.
Yep.
In my future top 25, that's where it gets a little tricky. You got to predict every game, but yeah, the ACC, man, against the SEC especially, is like 4 or 5-1 this year. Yeah. I can't even.
Fucking Vanderbilt ruined it for me.
Yeah, but when were they? Like, when was the last time the ACC was even close to being 500 against the SEC?
It's been a while. You know? It's been a while. Yeah, so, like 2013
I doubt they played
maybe.
that many more times this year. So at least before both
seasons. It'll be like
Georgia.
It'll be Georgia Tech and Georgia and Louisville, Kentucky are the two ones that
Carolina and Florida State, Florida.
Yep.
But
so a couple more matchups, but
yeah. But again, even if none of those go our way, I think it'd be like even. So I don't know. I love the head start that we have on the SEC. The SEC is kind of having a down year. There's not a lot of scary teams besides Georgia.
Yeah.
So.
I agree. And SEC fans might take a little bit of offense to that, but it's the truth. The SEC
eventually you have to accept it, right?
They don't look nearly as good this year as they have in the past.
I mean, I'll eat my words if they end up, getting two teams in and the championship is like Georgia, Alabama or something again. And I'm like, all right, whatever. It's the SEC. But I just highly doubt that happens this year.
Yep. Utah and Baylor, that game stunk. I want to see Cam Rising play. I don't know when that's going to happen. I hope that it's sooner rather than later.
I think it could be this week.
I have long-term concerns about Utah if they don't get Cam Rising back because that offense looked tough. They didn't have their All-American tight end either. So it's...
Yeah. I forget his name. Like, it's something weird, like Gaith G or something. I don't know.
Yep.
But he's great. And I think Cam Rising, one of my buddies goes to Utah, so I think he might be coming back this week, which would be good. This is like the last weekend of no guaranteed conference play. So I don't know if Utah has a conference game or not, but
yeah, they got Weber State this week, Weber State, and then they get right into the thick of it. UCLA, Oregon State, back-to-back weekends, so they go quick.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the last week as far as us predicting games. That's just going to be not necessarily that exciting.
Yeah.
Last week was great, but we have a lot of non-conference games that aren't super enticing this week. But then we get right into conference play. It's going to be, game after game, tough battles everywhere.
Yep. The only other thing that we really have is Tez Walker of UNC was denied a transfer from the NCAA. What the fuck? I don't understand. Dude, I don't understand the NCAA's blatant disregard for player concerns because they have all summer to review these transfer applications. This isn't something that just came across their desk. He has intended to transfer here since the spring. They've had all summer to look at this, and it's a very straightforward case. He was at a school where he did not play a single snap. He then transferred to another school in order to play. He then is now transferring back to UNC to be closer to family. It's a very open and shut thing. And they're like, nope, we can't do it. But somehow JT Daniels is on his fourth team. Phil Jerkovich is now playing for his third team. What the hell are we doing here?
I thought we got rid of all those problems a couple years ago. Cause I remember in the 2010s, you saw it, I think, a little more in basketball.
Yep.
You have to sit out a year, transfer, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yep.
just, try and not let people transfer ever. But then we haven't seen any drama in that regard for a while. And then I see this. And when I read Mac Brown's quote, I thought it was like a beat writer or something for UNC that was just like having a rant. I know. And I was just like, oh, damn, like this is so facts. And then I see that it was like a Mac Brown quote. And I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Like, this is like affecting like the core of the football team. So
the end of his statement, which is like from like very official, is how dare, and this is about the NCAA, how dare they ever speak about mental health and student athlete welfare again? We've got complete rosters overhauled through the transfer portal, yet we have players playing in their 8th year of college, players playing at their 4th school, and the list goes on. Yet Tez Walker, who's only played football at one school, isn't eligible. It makes no sense, and it never will.
Yeah, I don't get it. I would love like a explanation from someone who is well versed in the NCAA rules, because I've yet to see one. Because to me, it's just like I straight up just don't get it. Because it I have to I don't believe that it's just like out of evil maliciousness. Like, there's no reason, but we don't want to play. Like, there has to be something in writing, and they were like their hand was forced.
Well, technically, we had a fucking
there has to be technically though, and I want to see what the technically is, because I don't know what it is. Like, you can't go back to the same school. I don't know what is.
The NCAA is so stupid, dude. It's so dumb. Do you see? I don't know if you're a big tennis guy, but the U.S. Open, U.S. Open this weekend. So Fiona Crawley is a women's tennis player for the University of North Carolina. I'm pretty sure she made it to like the semifinals of the U.S. Open. Her purse for where she had finished was $81,000. She was not allowed to accept it because she's an NCAA athlete. But
no fucking way.
Yeah. Now she can get $1 million endorsement deal from Nike as a part of NIL, but she can't win the $81 million or $81,000 that her purse would have been for where she finished at the U.S. Open. That's so stupid. NCAA, what are we doing? What are we doing? So dumb.
Yeah. So she didn't make it to the semifinals. I was gonna say,
what was it, quarters maybe? I don't know.
No, she just advanced through. She like won all of her qualifying matches. But again, she's a college student. Like, tennis is deep as hell. So she lost in the first round, but to get there even is very impressive. But I mean, she won all her qualifying and then actually got to play probably in her first major ever.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. And then she doesn't get the money. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's so dumb. So dumb.
Yeah, but I'm a big tennis guy. I've played my whole life, so I was watching a lot of U.S. Open. Very entertaining. But again, it sucks so bad that like the finals were on college football Saturday in the thick of it, and then NFL Sunday in the thick of it, because I had to wave the white flag in my tennis watching career for the season.
It gets the best of us. I'm not a big tennis guy. I'm going to be honest. I like to consider myself an athlete. God damn, I am bad at tennis.
Really?
Oh, dude, terrible. I have no control. No control. My entire
you hit it too far every time and all that.
My brain is processed to hit dingers. I'm all about power, not about the technique. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I know some people like that.
But let's get into the week 3 slate. Let me know which of these games you think is going to be the most interesting. Starting with Penn State at Illinois. I think this is a big noon kickoff. Illinois lost to Kansas, so this game isn't really like great. This will be Penn State, like, will actually have like a decent test here. But Penn State wins. I don't.
So Illinois beat a good Toledo team, which is impressive. Yep. But then I'm not sure still if Kansas is legit and like actually really good, or if Illinois just like kind of got the shit kicked out of them to a very mid team. I watched that game. It was the only good game on Friday, and Illinois didn't look good. And Penn State's looked really good this season. So I kind of looked at the spread and winced a little bit as like, I want to take Penn State so bad, but that just feels, you know,
Yep.
it feels like the type of thing that like Illinois somehow actually plays really well. Like, how does Vegas know? So I'm interested, kind of, I guess, but I'm not gonna touch it, so I'm not gonna watch it probably.
Yeah, this will just be a game I'll keep an eye on. We'll see how Penn State looks. You know what I mean? I have them at 4 in my top, 25. I have
know
them
you have
up there. I'm very bold on them. I have them in my college football playoff.
Right?
So we'll see. LSU Mississippi State is an interesting game. Mississippi State obviously has not played well, or did not play well against Arizona. This game's at Mississippi State. They're plus 9.5. LSU is coming off a dominant win against Grambling State. I like the Tigers here. I think they win. I think they win handily. I think it's not even close. I think
Really?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at what you have written down, and it says the opposite. But
I know.
Okay.
I'm
so
high.
You changed your mind, or what?
I changed my mind.
Because I made the graphic already. I just hope you know. So you're officially taking Mississippi
Here's the
State.
thing. The problem I have is with what we've seen out of Mississippi State's offense, because it's been good at times and it's been bad at times, and I think.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna stick with Mississippi State. I'm gonna stick with Mississippi State.
Just for the graphics' sake.
Well, for the graphics' sake, but also for my own mental health, because like,
if they win, yeah, you want to be able to.
I can't ever like. I don't believe in Brian Kelly. The problem is Jaden Daniels is going to have games where he plays really well and LSU will win those games. And he's going to have games where he doesn't play well and LSU will lose those games. And I don't know which games those are going to be. This is going to be a tough road environment at Mississippi State. I'm gonna stick with the Bulldogs.
Listen, I have Mississippi State covering because plus 9.
Oh yeah,
I think it's a touchdown game for sure. And I like Will Rogers, and I think we're gonna see a little bit more from them. But again, this is where we're gonna slowly but surely this season we'll see whether the Pac-12, some of these teams are a bit fraudulent or if they're all just amazing. Because as of right now, as it stands, Arizona might actually be really good, and maybe Arizona plays LSU tight. Which if you told me that 2 months ago, like Arizona LSU play and it's a really close game, I'd be like, no, it's not. But it's weird, but it might be right. So I'm not going to say Mississippi State struggled because maybe they just beat a good team. And LSU beating Grambling State doesn't matter to me, really. So
yeah, I do like Mississippi State against the spread.
I'm taking
here,
LSU though, as far as who I'm taking to win. But yeah, spread wise, I'll be riding with you.
Same. I think this is going to be a little bit of an overreaction to how Mississippi State played against Arizona. That line's going to move quite a bit. Kansas State at Missouri. I love this game. This is a game I will absolutely be watching. Missouri is a tough team at home. They play really great defense under Eli Drinkowitz. And I believe in Kansas State. I think Kansas State wins this game, and I think Kansas State covers. However, this is going to be a really fun game to watch because we get to see what Will Howard can do offensively and because Kansas State very quietly has gone out and handled business through 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. They're cruising right now.
Nobody's talked about Kansas State, but they've quietly handled their business. Now if they go in, they beat an SEC team at their place before you head into Big 12 play. I think it could very quickly become, all right, Texas-Kansas State. That's going to be a hell of a game.
I have Kansas State, I think. I had them unranked to start the year. I have them ranked 10th now because they've impressed me that much. They just beat Troy, right? Troy's a good
yes.
It's a good group of 5 team that a lot of people would have in their top 10 group of 5 teams this year. And the spread was 17. And I saw a couple people that I follow on Instagram Troy's my sneaky upset pick, blah blah blah.
Yep.
And I'm like, no way though. Kansas State looks great week 1, no way. And then Kansas State goes out and smokes them. Yeah. And Missouri has actually struggled pretty mightily, I would say, through 2 games this year. Not only that, but the SEC has not done very well against the spread against other Power 5 conferences this year.
Yep.
actually abysmally bad. And I don't think that's just a fluke, right? We've had 3 weekends now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I am shocked at the spread. It's one of my favorite bets. We'll get to that later. But
Yep.
I'm definitely like excited at watching it for the sake of like I want to be right, because I think Kansas State smokes them. I think they win by like 20 plus.
An interesting game. Minnesota and North Carolina is a very like good offense against a good defense. This game's in North Carolina. North Carolina went to overtime with App State, which they need to stop scheduling App State. Holy shit.
Everyone does, yeah.
But I like North Carolina. Minnesota doesn't. Nothing about that team impresses me. Like their wide receivers played pretty well against Nebraska, but at the same time, like we're starting to see what Nebraska is.
They also scored 13 points barely against Nebraska. So that offense isn't impressive. And North Carolina's defense is better than we thought it would be,
yes,
right?
It is better than I thought it would be.
So it's not like, a bad offense will actually be able to thrive because they're playing North Carolina. I don't think that's true. And I think North Carolina, when you have the better, quarterback and the better skill position players, like North Carolina's running back has really impressed me this year.
Yep.
I think it should be North Carolina taking that one.
Yep. Give me North Carolina as well. South Carolina at Georgia. I think Georgia beats the dog piss out of South Carolina, and South Carolina fans call for Spencer Rattler to be benched. That is my prediction.
You're going to see it once a year, right?
You're going to see it, and it's going to be
Rattler.
He's going to throw 3 interceptions, 0 touchdowns, and you're just going to be like, what the fuck? South Carolina fans are going to be all up in my mentions.
My thing with South Carolina is like people are down on them. The offensive line looked really bad against UNC.
Yep.
And then they kind of started out slow and sluggish against Furman, which should not happen. But I think this game against Georgia, like I don't remember when it was, maybe 2019 that they beat Georgia, and it was like a huge shock. And I think they're motivated enough, and I think Rattler is good enough, and they're well coached enough to treat this game as like a chance to do something spectacular. Because again, this is a Georgia team that's riding a 30-plus game winning streak. I think Georgia has struggled in the first quarter against 2 really bad teams. Oh, did my face just go away? Whatever.
Yep.
Okay. Well, they've struggled in the first quarter against 2 really bad teams. But because they're really bad teams and Georgia has all this depth, they're able to just wear them down, right? Because that's just how it works when you're playing like Ball State and UT Martin. But South Carolina comes at least close to the depth of talent, right? So I think Georgia might struggle for longer earlier because, again, we still don't really know what Georgia is this year. And so I just think 27 is a bullshit line as far as like the context of it. Like I'm not saying that I don't think Georgia can smoke them, but the idea of the line is why I'm going to take South Carolina plus 27.
Yep. We got Washington and Michigan State. I'm not going to touch this game just because of the Mel Tucker bullshit, but 17 points. I don't even think that might be enough. I think
it was 14 before the Mel Tucker drama.
And then now,
17. I mean, listen, Michigan State, I thought people were sleeping on them before the season. And then I thought they looked pretty good in the first 2 games. So I was like, oh, nice. Like maybe Michigan State.
Their quarterback looked good last week. Like 3 touchdowns. Like he played well.
I'm saying Michigan State could be good, but now they have this bullshit. But the only thing is the bullshit can go one of 2 ways. It can totally ruin the trajectory of your season. It can like Northwestern you, or it can like you get the interim guy and like lights a fire under you and you go on this crazy interim run. Especially this is true in the NFL that like week 1, like interim head coaches that are coaching their first game, they like always
typically do well. Yeah.
Or honestly, a lot of the times they win. And so like, I don't want to touch it just because it's just like crazy. And I don't think Michigan State can win because I really like Washington, but I am excited. That's actually a game I really want to watch because I think it should be closer than people expect it to be.
Yep, a lot of points in that one.
Maybe.
Over is 57.5. So we'll see. The Vegas thinks there'll be points.
Yeah.
Tennessee at Florida. Florida's a 7.5 point dog.
Yeah, that's a no touch for me.
I don't. I think Tennessee wins, but like this game could get feisty in the swamp very quickly.
This is a huge game every season. Like Florida, Tennessee's always this week, I think, and it's always like a great game. Like I love watching Florida, Tennessee
at night.
I'll never forget 2015 Will Grier. Do you remember that game?
Ooh, yeah.
Antonio Callaway, 4th and 14, whatever it was, in the swamp. And I was like, holy shit, that was like the best college football game I've ever seen. And I honestly think it could be something like that again. Like, I think I don't want to touch it because 7 seems so crazy for a team that I think is going to be bad, like Florida, against a team that I think could make the CFP. But it's just so it means so much to both teams. So yeah, I won't be touching it.
Same, but I do think Tennessee wins.
Yeah, I would. I'm putting it in the graphic for Tennessee, but I wouldn't be shocked if Florida won.
South Alabama, Oklahoma State. More than anything, Oklahoma State's kind of struggled a little bit. I don't think they are decided on their quarterback. And this game, 8.5 is the line. This game could be interesting. It's at Oklahoma State. I am probably going to take South Alabama to cover. I think Oklahoma State wins, but this is a game where it's 7 p.m. kickoff, like 9 o'clock rolls around. We could be having some conversations. So just be on the lookout for it.
Before the season started, I was super all in on South Alabama. Like they could be the Tulane team. They, and obviously they lose to Tulane. And then they struggled a lot against Southeastern Louisiana last week. Which was like it was like tied at half. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? I thought South Alabama was supposed to be really good. They figured it out in the end, but I was like, this is going to be my last week of like, I believe in South Alabama. If they go out and they get smoked or it's just they don't come close to the spread, I'm just going to wave the white flag. Like I was wrong about South Alabama, but I am going to ride them straight up. Money line, game pick, graphic, everything. I'm going South Alabama. And luckily, it's because Oklahoma State has also not impressed me, so I think it's very doable.
Yep, absolutely. This is a game. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. This is my bet of the week. This is my play of the week. Arkansas is minus 10.5 against BYU, and the Mormons got to come into Fayetteville. Woo pig suey.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I'll put the video clip in here, but it's the like guy. I'm gonna stick my dick in the mashed potatoes. Go Hogs! Fuck it. They are going to run this BYU team out of here. But BYU, they played well against Southern Utah, beat them 41-16, but they beat Sam Houston State 14-0. Like they only scored 14 points. This offense doesn't look like incredible. Arkansas might beat this team by 30. I truly believe that. At home.
One of my favorite bets week 1 was Sam Houston State to cover that spread against BYU because of the FCS trend. So that was awesome, right? I had a great week 1, not so great last week, but I think that KJ Jefferson is like just a different beast and is like almost too fast for the linebackers at BYU. So I think that Arkansas is going to be able to score at will, and BYU should put up some points. I don't know, 42-23 final score or something like that makes sense, right? Like it just you close your eyes, it's like Arkansas is going to put up a ton of points.
Yep, 100%. But should be a fun game to watch. Another night game. Syracuse at Purdue. Purdue's kind of been feisty, but.
Have you seen Syracuse scores the first 2 weeks?
They have played well, haven't they?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think they've been smoking their competition.
Yeah, so first 2 games, 48-7 against Western and 65-0 against Colgate. So Come out
Great. I don't
hot.
think that. Not great competition, but
Yeah, Western Michigan's going to be like the bottom of the MAC this year, but outscoring your opponents 117 to or 112, 117. Yeah, 107. No, 113. God damn, I'm terrible at math for being an engineer. Outscoring your opponents 113 to 7 through 2 weeks is pretty impressive. Purdue, I believe, did they lose to Virginia Tech last week?
no, they won. But
They
Virginia
won?
Tech stinks, and there was that massive delay, and it was kind of just a gross game.
Yeah.
I love this is actually probably my play of the week is Syracuse
Okay.
to cover because the spread's super low.
2.5.
Again,
Yep.
yeah, we're seeing ACC teams like play better than they should be, and we're seeing conferences like the Big Ten and like the SEC that should be amazing. They're lesser conference members aren't holding up their end of the stick. So I love Syracuse in this one. It is at Purdue, right?
Yes, it is at Purdue.
But I'm pretty sure like last year it was a fantastic game.
Yeah, no, it was
right.
It literally came down to a Hail Mary on the last play of the game. Like it was insane.
And it was like 7-10 going into the fourth, and it was touchdown.
Yeah,
touchdown,
the final score was like 32-33. Like it was one of the best quarters of football we had all year.
As far as watchability,
it's up there.
Keep in mind that you're probably your instinct is like, no, I don't want to watch it, but like it's worth it if you get the same fireworks. So,
yep. And then we get two teams that were surprising upsets in my mind at the end of this. Pitt and West Virginia, and then TCU and Houston, which Pitt was upset by Cincinnati, and Houston was upset by Rice. JT Daniels, that son of a bitch. The Perry Ellis of college football.
Literally.
But Pitt at West Virginia, the backyard brawl. This game is in Morgantown. West Virginia is a 1.5-point dog. Might as well be a pick 'em. I had this to begin the year that I was going to take West Virginia, even though I'm down on West Virginia, and I'm still going to take West Virginia. They're hungry. They hate each other. This game's at home. That is going to be, if I had to be like, hey, what is going to be the loudest stadium in week 3? It is going to be Morgantown, West Virginia. That is going to be the loudest stadium in college football.
That game was week 0 last year, I think. And
yes, and they played on a Thursday night. It was awesome.
It was insanity. I was just like, that got me so juiced for football. There was the worst dropped pass I've ever seen.
JT Daniels threw a pick 6. How many times can we say JT Daniels on the show?
JT. Who are we talking about?
JT Daniels.
Oh, JT Daniels. Yeah. Oh, JT Daniels. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a massive rivalry. It's the backyard brawl or whatever, and the spread. Like, I don't know enough about either team to like lean one way or the other. So if you're taking West Virginia, just for the graphics sake, I'll take Pitt.
There we go. Fair enough.
For the ACC. Go ACC.
Do it for the ACC. And then we got TCU at Houston. Houston's plus 6.5. This game's at Houston.
Weird spread.
We have concerns about TCU after what Colorado did to them. I feel a little less concerned now after what Colorado has done to Nebraska. I mean, TCU kept that game within 3 points.
TCU could have won that game easily.
Yeah, they could have absolutely won that game. And Houston just lost to Rice.
And Houston barely beat UTSA.
Yep.
Like Houston could be 0-2. Granted, UTSA and Rice not like cupcakes by any means.
But they also
the crazy thing is,
neither one of those teams are Power 5. So
no, but I think Rice was up like 28-6 or something, like in the second half, and then Houston was like no, and then put it to like double overtime. But then they ended up losing. But when I was tracking the scores, I was like, oh my god, Houston's getting dogged.
Yep.
And then TCU, they looked good last week, and I think they looked fine against Colorado. They just lost to a good Colorado team.
Yep.
So I think 6.5 is crazy. And yeah, I definitely wanted to throw that game in there because it's Houston's first Big 12 bout, and I think they're getting a little bit too much respect, and I don't know why. Like it kind of is a trap, maybe.
Yep, I'm taking TCU to win and cover as well. So
yeah.
All right. Let's do a quick little best bets. I'm going to be honest, I don't have a ton this week. So in a heartbreaking fashion, I talked about how I was going to take the USC over every single week until it died, and then it died.
And guess who rode with you?
God
Motherfucking me.
damn it. So we're going to pause on that one this week just because I'm going to be honest. They play Arizona State. Don't know how I feel about it. We'll wait until USC and Colorado play each other, and then I will just smash that over. I don't care if that number starts with an 8. I'm going to bang the over in that game. It's going to be electric. Until that point, we could take a break on that one.
That's actually so fair, though. Yeah, like USC Colorado could be 45-42 at half.
Yeah. I mean,
oh, man.
Caleb Williams had 3 touchdowns and almost 400 yards at half this last week against Stanford.
Yeah.
So,
and yeah, that's going to be great. But yeah, rip through your best bets. I have like less than I normally do, but still a decent amount, like 6 or something.
Yep. So the first one is Notre Dame, Central Michigan under 55.5. Notre Dame has held their first 2 opponents to a combined total of 6 points, and then they held NC State to, I believe, is 20.
I thought maybe 24, 45, 24.
Yeah, 24. This Central Michigan's offense is not very good. They are very, very one-dimensional. Notre Dame's going to shut them down. I also don't see a situation where Notre Dame runs up the score either. This is going to be this will be like a 45-7 game, and the under will hit, and we'll go home.
What's the over/under? You said what?
55.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's high. That's high. That's too high.
Yep. So
okay. Maybe I'll ride that.
I like that one. The other ones, the other 2 plays that I am heavy on are the Arkansas -10 and then Syracuse -2.5.
Yeah, Syracuse I love. Arkansas I like. I talked about South Carolina +27. It's not necessarily like a favorite bet because it's like that's a dumb favorite bet. It's the dumbest favorite bet ever. But I'm gonna take it.
Yep.
And I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna hope that South Carolina covers. Florida State -28. We kind of touched on how bad Boston College actually is.
Just
their bottom barrel ACC. Like they were massive favorites against Holy Cross, and
Holy Cross they weren't massive favorites. They were like 3.5-point favorites in that game.
No, they weren't against Holy Cross.
Yeah, it was not.
Because when they were losing the FPI, maybe it was an FPI spread I was looking at. But no, okay, it was 10.5.
Oh, 10.5. Okay, never mind.
But I mean, so yeah, not massive though. Still, the FPI spread I was looking at was like way higher. But yeah, they really struggled. Easily could have lost that. There was a delay in that game as well.
Yep.
And Florida State has been smashing the spread. I actually had Southern Miss to cover. That didn't even have a chance. Right? It was done by half. Florida State crushed the LSU spread. They were underdogs in that game. They win by 20. And I think Boston College and Southern Miss are similar in talent, so I think Florida State can easily win. Like, when's the last time an ACC game? Like, remember the Clemson games that were like Clemson, Georgia Tech, 77-3, right? Like, we haven't seen those in a while, and I think that this has a chance to be that. And I think the spread's just not given it any respect because we haven't seen it in a while. But I wouldn't be shocked if it's say 63-10.
I also don't think Boston College has enough fight in them to do a backdoor cover. Like that's because that's what you're playing on here. Like I don't think they're good enough to cover the 28. It's if Florida State goes up 35 and then lets their foot off the gas, and then maybe like they swing in a backdoor. I don't even think that happens here.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I like that.
I also really, really like Kansas State's. Just because of this, I'm on this all day today. But the ACC against the SEC has been bueno. We forgot to mention that Georgia Tech is playing Ole Miss this weekend. I do not think Georgia Tech wins, but Georgia Tech is underrated, right? They could have beat Louisville week 1. They actually were winning 28-16. Yeah, no, they're a good team, and just for the pattern's sake, I'm going to sprinkle some on Georgia Tech plus 19.5.
Yep.
Ole Miss didn't impress me all that much against Tulane.
No.
Wyoming plus 30 against Texas. This is the the whole idea that like the team that beats Alabama, the public is always like, that's the best team in the country. Like, oh my God, they're only getting this number. I'm going to take the over. Like, don't forget that Wyoming beat Texas Tech.
This is also very much one of my, let's put football aside here for a second. These dudes just had their biggest win in the history of their careers. They partied their asses off this weekend and this week. They partied their asses off. They went up and down sorority row, and they had themselves a good old time. And if you think that practice was really intense headed into Wyoming, you're wrong.
Yeah, no.
I can promise you it was not. Yeah.
It's a sleepwalk game. You see it all the time.
Yep.
And 29.5 against, like, if it was UT Martin or something, I'd be like, all right, no, obviously I'm not going to touch that.
Yeah.
But Wyoming, they're
feisty. They're well coached. Like, yeah.
And 30's kind of crazy. So I'll be taking that. And that rounds it out actually for me. But the fade games are Pitt WVU, just because I don't know. Penn State Illinois, because I just won't let myself fall into, like, I did it with Notre Dame, UConn, spreads that are like 12-16 that I just do not think deserve to be there.
Yep.
They always end up being right there. So I can't do it. And then Tennessee, Florida, because it's just too much of a rivalry. The swamp is going to be nuts. Those games are always close, and it's a trap spread. So
hell yeah. If you guys are betting any of the bets, or if you have anything that you want us to talk about going into next week, drop it in the comments. Would love to, see more of you guys in the comment section. We're up to 212 subscribers on the YouTube now, which is just a tremendous W. I mean, I really truly think we have a chance to hit 300 by the end of September. So be a friend, tell a friend, share this. That's the best way to help us out. Also, if you aren't subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We really do appreciate it. You guys are the absolute best, and we will see you in the next one.
Sayonara.